Hey, good morning. I'm using episode number 351. We are live. Unless you're watching this on a repeat.
True. And then hopefully we're still live.
Uh,
At least not on air, but
oh, yes. Unless the apocalypse would happen and we're all living in vaults.
yep, we did survive the solar eclipse, so all the dire warnings and stuff did not happen.
Yeah, we didn't cover
Some
that last
people
week.
are happy for that, some not so.
Yeah, we did talk about that last week because we had our good pal Sean Forney on talking about his Kickstarter
Yeah.
and that. So, but yeah, it was a cool thing. I watched. We had the partial here. It was just everything kind of got dimmed and then come back up, and I know some people went down to like Ohio from up here and saw totality and I saw some cool pictures of everything around totality. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. That was neat. So, but no,
Yep.
we're back in the real world again.
Yep, but no human sacrifices were needed or anything else. So
No, but ever since we had the eclipse, so we've had weather. It's like, oh, we're gonna hit 80 degrees now in April. So, which is funny
yeah.
because I was watching the news the other day. It's like, oh, we hit 81 today, and the record was a year ago on this exact same date when it was 82. So we get some warm weather in April last couple of years, and but nice thing is all the trees are blooming, starting to pop out, sort of finally coming out of the doldrums of winter.
Yeah, Jill and I even yesterday we like to go for walks when it's nice out like this, and when the local neighborhood we were walking through, there were people even open up pools, which this is early for that, but the
I've
weather's
seen
been
a
good.
lot of people getting their boats out, getting that
Mm-hmm.
ready, which is still, I mean, sometimes you see it in April. Usually it's May when you start really seeing that. But I've seen a lot more people getting the boats out, getting ready to head out, and haven't really seen anything with pools, but definitely it's people are getting ready. A lot of lawns being mowed, so all the people that do the lawn and snow service were very happy they can get back to mowing lawns a little early this year. So,
Yeah,
and
for sure.
but let me just pull this up real quick here. Wanted to share just because of our good pal Sean. They are funded. They're at 2131. So definitely check them out on Kickstarter. Just look up Art of Sean Forney or Heroes, Villains, and Cryptids Volume 1.
Yeah, if you like, I found him just by typing Sean Forney. Sean is SEAN F,
Yep.
and then Forney is FORNEY.
Yes, definitely in that. So
Very
let's look
good.
at our ad reads real quick, and we'll start right into it.
All right. Well, Team Titans Real Estate, you know who we are. Jill and I are just firing on all cylinders right now. It's been the insanity continues as far as ever since Easter hit, everybody's mind's going to real estate. So some things to update. A lot of people are waiting for those 5% interest rates. The government was teasing them for quite a bit. The Fed came out a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago now. They're giving hints that maybe we might be at the bottom of what those drops are. So nobody knows for sure. Nobody has a crystal ball, but if you're waiting for those 5%, it might not happen right now. The company we work with, they have, everything depends on what you qualify for, obviously, but they do have programs that are as low as 6.375. So this might be the bottom of that dip there. So if you've been holding out for that and trying to time it, this will be the time. The other benefit to timing it right as a buyer right now is there are a lot of houses hitting the market, which means buyers have more choices right now. We're still in a low inventory level, but what's happening is, though, those really nice house, let's say 12 houses hit the market. And I'm not kidding. On some of my searches, 12, 20 houses are hitting the market each week right now for these areas that I'm doing searches for. But of those, 2, 3, maybe 4 are really, really nice houses, top notch. Everyone's going to flood to those. And so if you get that house that's just below perfect, you might get in without a bidding war. So give us a call, 586-232-5144. I'm putting it in the comments here. Give us a call. We can help you find that perfect house for you. We can give you strategies to improve. If you want that top-notch house, it's going to be a bidding war. We will help you strategize for that. If you want the house that maybe isn't going to be the bidding war, we can help you, figure out which one that might be as well. So we're here for you. Give us a call.
All right. And then also our publishing end, bardstone.com, is always a sponsor of the show. And books are ordered. We're just going to now wait for them to be printed and shipped. And And
Yes.
so if you didn't get in on the Kickstarter, you'll be able to see them. Well, we'll have them when they're available, and you can order them from us that way, or catch us at a show or something. But definitely looking pretty good. So
Yeah, the artist proofs look great, and can't wait till we get those in house here. So we're on track right now for deliver. Our backers should be receiving their reward sometime mid to late May is where we're looking right now,
yeah,
if everything comes on time. So
yeah,
that's where we're at.
cool. So I noticed this week on Netflix the Rebel Moon Part 2 comes out. Did you watch the first part?
I watched 20 minutes or so and thought this is stupid and stopped.
Yeah, it dragged out. I watched the whole movie and it was okay. Now the second one's going on, I'm going, oh god, do I even want to take the time? I probably won't this week.
You know what I'm getting tired of?
Huh?
Zack Snyder. I'm tired of the Zack Snyder fans. I'm
Yeah.
tired of him putting out crappy stuff. And then the whole excuse is, well, you don't understand. It's above your level. And we need the director's cut now. So it's even better. And then he always releases a director's cut. And nobody cares. Who's talking about it? Nobody. Like, stop it.
Yeah,
Put
I
out
don't.
the film right the first time.
Yeah, I think there were some things I liked early on in his work, but it's all repetitive.
It's all repetitive.
And his storytelling is just kind of, I mean, the whole Rebel Moon thing, it was supposed to be originally a Star Wars story, but I'm watching it going, yeah, this would fall right in line with Ryan Johnson stuff. We're going to take just a small little segment thing and just kind of do something, but not really have a great story and then drag it out.
Right.
So I don't know. I was looking up earlier to see what's coming out this week on streaming, and I noticed that's going to hit Netflix. I'm actually excited because I'll finally get to see Migration. That's hitting Peacock. I just think that looks like a funny movie, the animated duck movie. Things like that. I don't have Shudder, so I there's something I can watch there. But that's really what's coming out new this week on some of the major streaming stuff. They did really. They got a new movie on Netflix. It's Freud's Last Session, stars Anthony Hopkins.
Oh, I wanted to see that. Let me silence that.
So that I hadn't heard about this. I don't know how I didn't hear about this, but
it looks really good.
I like Anthony Hopkins. He's doing a fair amount again lately. He's got this one. I want to see the one where he played the real life guy that they surprised him at, like, This Is Your Life, and it turned out to be all the adults that when they were
Holocaust
kids.
survivors.
Yeah. So I definitely want to see that one when it becomes available to stream in that. And then I noticed also this week Dune 2 is now available on video on demand. So you can Dune Part 2. So those that wanted to see it, they didn't want to go to the theater, it's now available to rent. And I'm sure Max will probably have it if you have Max eventually here too. So because it's tied into them. So
regarding that Freud's Last Session, if I remember correct, it's based upon his interaction with C.S. Lewis, if I remember correct. And I think it's conversations between those two.
Okay.
It's either that or Tolkien. It's
C.S. Lewis.
C.S. Lewis. Okay.
Yeah. Played by Matthew Good. So it's a fictional meeting, though. It recounts a fictional meeting between Freud and C.S. Lewis. It's based on a play.
Got it.
So it's not an actual event.
Oh, I always thought it was real.
Well, I mean, you're using two real people, and then it's fictional. So this might be interesting to see. We're gonna have to take it with the thought that it may not be,
C.S. Lewis is a known Christian author and apologist. And then you got Freud with his theories, and this whole thing kind of takes those two ideas and it's the back and forth of them challenging each other with their worldviews. And so I thought it was a real thing, though. Kind of like Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Hunter. You just can't tell with historical fiction when reality crosses over into fiction.
Well, the best Freud still is from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Right?
Diagnosing Bill's edible complex of his stepmom, who was a senior when they were freshmen.
So another thing that recently came out was there's Oh God, my memory just isn't what it used to be. The new Star Wars video game there. It's got a female lead in it, and it's kind of like the Jedi Outcast game there in a
Yeah.
lot of ways. But what I find funny about this is the people who are very excited for this. They're touting how this is the first female-led Star Wars video game, and it's about time because for a 50-year-old franchise, this is just ridiculous. It's like Battlefront 2 was totally female-led, where like the whole main character was female. What are you talking about? First one,
Yeah.
hey, first one for the new company handling it.
Well, and I've been seeing a few things on this with Ubisoft that's coming out, and then definitely there's some people that are not happy it's them doing it. The
Yeah,
other
it
thing
sounds like they have a
is
troubled history with their releases.
well, I think it's coming out on time. That's the one thing, but it's everything you're seeing is just crazy pricing. They're doing all this like uh for $17.99 a month, you can play 3 days early with the Ubisoft Plus Premium. Costs are like through the roof. There's like all these
Yeah.
different ones, like, oh, if you buy this for $180 or some craziness, you get like a Jabba the Hutt mission and things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, the game, it sounds on the very basic of it's an open world game for an RPG, which is like, okay, so you can definitely just go anywhere, and that's cool. I personally, if you're going to do an open world game, why does it have to be, they could create these stories that you can create your own character. And if you wanted to play female, you could. If you wanted to play a male character, you could. If you want to play an alien, you could. That'd be a true good open world game on that. I don't know. I think it's going to be way overpriced. I don't plan on buying it, but I never buy a new game anyways, because I don't have time to commit to a game right away to I'd want to play it that day.
Right.
So
my question is this though, like,
yeah,
I can't even stand video games anymore because they're always these online games that I have to play against 12-year-olds who are cursing me out.
Well, no, this is you don't have to play online against people.
This is a fully encapsulated.
This is an RPG. Yeah, it's its own thing. This isn't like
I thought you said it was open world. What does that
open world means you can just go anywhere in the game.
Okay.
Yeah, this isn't.
That's how old I'm getting. I don't even know what that means.
This isn't fighting people. This isn't like this. That's part of some of the Halo. As much as I like the Halo games, is they spend way more on the multiplayer aspect, which is all fighting, which is all capture the flag type games and stuff like that.
So this game I could truly play by myself.
Yeah, hold on real quick before we go on. I just noticed that Steve Scott says hi from Belgium.
Hey,
yeah, miss you too, Steven. I'll definitely tell Mom you said hi. She's probably listening, so she knows. We'll have to catch up sometime about the convention scene, things like that. Steve, if you're still listening, I'll send you a message sometime. We'll have to see if he can pop on and let us know how the comic scene in Europe's going on. He's been over there for a while now and doing very well. And he's been a good friend for, many, many years now. Met him in Pittsburgh Comic on that. Oh, here we go. He played the heck out of the Fallout 4.
Perfect. He can chime in when we start talking about Fallout.
Yeah.
He'll be our resident expert.
Yeah, I got to get my I mean, meaning to do this for a few years now. I keep like, I need to go next week and get my passport. I get that started because I know it takes a little bit. I got to do that quick and then eventually start trying to get over it, because I know that with our Crimson Shadows comic, we'd love to go out to London and do the show out there.
I want to do London. I want to do the Dublin one.
Yep.
I would love to go back to Paris. That was a great show. That was awesome. And then Australia is the other one I want to get to.
Yeah.
Oh, we got Connie, the Comic-Con mom, chiming in.
Yep. So she says hi. So yeah, he says do it. I will. I'll get
anyone else need introductions to each other. Send it in.
But Steve is a fantastic artist. He's worked on a lot of great titles over the years, with some Star Wars, some Batman, things like that. So Fax in Belgium is amazing. So yeah, that'd be fun. Go to Belgium, get some waffles, some fun stuff like that. So now, that'd be great.
I used to know someone. I used to have a friend whose father was Belgian. Well, was Belgium, passed away. But every time the topic of food came up, he would have to make sure everyone knew French fries were really from Belgium.
But they were first fried in Greece.
Yeah.
Yes. Dad jokes.
So I guess it was a big chip on his shoulder that the French got credit for them. He would always say, they're really from Belgium, you know.
Yeah, I think it boils down to not French as the country, but French as the style, like French green beans and stuff like that, the way they're cut and stuff like that. So that's
I
why
never realized that.
I don't know. They could be, but
Made up facts by Brett.
yes,
Dun-dun. It sounds real.
it does. Yeah,
it could be right though. That could be true.
So we're gonna talk a little Fallout today. We're not gonna get too deep in the series because it's only been out for a week, and while a lot of people haven't finished it, we're kind of looking at it from a perspective of two guys that really haven't played the games. I know of the games a little bit, stuff like that, but we'll definitely talk about that. But did you get a chance to watch today's Star Wars Bad Batch?
Not today yet.
Okay.
I am all caught up prior to today though. I'm already feeling the sadness of the impending end here because I just love this show so much. The storytelling, this is Star Wars to me.
Yeah.
The way the stories unfolded, Filoni just understands the franchise and the core, the heart and soul of what Star Wars is, and he's nailing it.
Well, we're getting to this point now up through last week's episode where now that the Empire is caught up to Omega, they were able to track her down, and they have now recaptured her. Basically, she surrendered because they showed up at the planet where they were hiding out with that island city, and basically just tore it to shreds. I mean, it was.
Yep.
I mean, that was a decimating attack on there. Destroyed their ship.
Yep.
Stuff like that. So Omega is now back on with the Empire. That's trying to figure out what's going on with her. So that's the storytelling is great. This is one of the things I'm sitting going now. It's like, after last week's and then this week's episode, I was like, oh, I wish you guys would just now dump the rest of them. I just want to see it. Because now I get done for today's episode going, we got 2 more to go, and they're really just ramping it up so good.
Filoni's also got, I'm starting to notice something. He likes to create iconic ships for his characters and then destroy them so we can't love them anymore.
Well, him and Favreau both. I mean,
they did that.
They did that with the best one was Mandalorian because of the fact that they did this huge Hasbro Plus release or Pulse release, giant ship. I mean, the ship's huge.
I know.
And it was like, oh, it's awesome. I love the ship, and I love the ship. That was such a great ship. And then here comes the episode, like, boom, blew it up. I was like, what? And literally, people online go, I just dropped $400 on that ship, and now it's no longer
now it's gone
around.
Truly a rare item now.
Yes. Yep. So, and then
I was surprised when the Bad Batch lost their ship, but it's like, again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, now they're they get help last week from their pirate friend, and so they're kind of moving on from there. But now they're starting to scrounge a little bit, but they're not delaying too much. I mean, there's too much to tell in the next few weeks. So even this week they get right to the point of what they needed to do. And we get this week is saying, okay, this is more, this week's more of a chess layout of, okay, we got to set this up, that up, and get this ready just to get them for the next 2 episodes.
Right. Time to wrap up the story. And the series, because this is the last season. So,
yeah, I mean, this is going to be interesting. 2 more episodes, and then it's done. We'll see where it goes from there. I mean, that I think the thing we want to find out more is just a little bit more of what's been going on with, this whole thing. They got to the point this season about the M count. That's why Omega is so more important, more than just being a female version of the clones. It is also has a midi-chlorian count that is actually able to handle the cloning stability they're looking for. That's what they came through the last couple episodes. And it's all tying into, I mean, they've never fully said, but it pretty much is the Emperor's cloning project for himself. So, but I think there's also some other ties into that. I can see them using with, there's always been the use of the M count stuff in some of the Sith warriors and things like that. They've talked through different legends and stuff like that over the years. So who knows? I mean, I still think it's going to be interesting to see how everything ends up, where they all end up going from there. We're going to get a final wrap up, and then like the last few minutes of this is jump in the future, and this is where everybody's at. So that's gonna be interesting to find out on that. So I'm real excited about that with Bad Batch.
what's going to be interesting is what's coming up. Now, this is 7 days old, so this just came out last week.
Okay.
What's coming up for the Star Wars? So we've got that Tales of, well, what do they call it? Tales of the Empire.
Yeah.
That's what they're calling it. So that's coming up soon. And the Acolyte. So that's where we're at as far as near future.
Yeah.
Let's see. We still have the Skeleton Crew.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of forgot about that. I feel like that's kind of, wasn't that supposed to be? A lot of these things got pushed back though. Same with the Andor season 2.
Well, yeah, with the strike last year, it put everything back a little bit.
Yeah. Ahsoka season 2, and then we got the Mandalorian movie, and I believe I just read that they announced a Mandalorian and Grogu TV series coming up.
Well, there's a movie, and
it's the movie. Oh, here it is, right here.
Yeah, that's the Filoni movie.
That's the Filoni, and it hits 7 years later. So, anyways, yeah, I guess you got that. Everything else seems to be like speculation, like the whole Rey movie.
Yeah.
Let's see. Here we go. Here's the release schedule. We got Tales of the Empire May 4th, Acolyte June 4th, Skeleton Crew sometime this year. Andor is next year. Oh, that's going to be a brutal year next year. We only have Andor season 2 scheduled so far.
Well,
nothing else for the whole year.
Well, I suppose they're doing Ahsoka season 2, but they haven't started on that yet. So
this one says 2026 for that. 2026 for the Mandalorian Grogu movie. They still have Waititi's movie in development. That died.
Yeah, that's gone.
That's gone. New Jedi Order. Those are all in development. So there's really not much on the slate officially.
No, I mean, really, the next after they announced Ahsoka season 2, we got no Andor season 2, and that's the last for Andor.
Right.
That takes it right up to
Rogue One,
pretty much, and then Ahsoka, season 2 would be interesting where they're gonna go from there. But I think a lot of it's gonna hinge on what they're dealing with the Mandalorian Grogu, which is not until for 2 years. We got 2 years before that comes out. That's 2026.
Yeah, so got quite the gap here. I suspect though. I suspect with Bad Batch wrapping up, I do think we're going to get a new animated series that they are probably already working on, but just haven't announced yet.
Mm-hmm.
Just like Tales of the Empire kind of came out of nowhere. It was always like, you knew it was kind of out there, but then out of nowhere, it's like, oh, this is releasing soon.
Yeah.
So I think they're just trying to keep a tighter wrap on everything and do less future forecasting of what's coming out, at least publicly doing it.
Well, I mean, really, the last big announcement we had was, with Filoni really coming in and saying, okay, he's a new creative director. I think the best thing is you don't just also start announcing all this stuff. I mean, last week we've heard a few things that seem to be. I mean, we've got Patty Jenkins saying she's back working on Rogue Squadron or X-Wings. Rogue Squadron, right?
Yeah, Rogue Squadron is the name.
Yeah. And then they fully announced the Mandalorian Grogu movie, which sounds like that's kind of supposed to wrap up the whole Mandalorian saga in some ways.
Right.
And then the Kennedy stuff and the director of that stuff, that's all still never officially come through the channels. It was other stuff was released through the proper channel, so we don't know about the Rey movie and that. So, which again, all the talk they said about it, I'm like, okay, it doesn't even sound like it's going to be a fun Star Wars movie if the way you're going about it, because you really just told me that's not for people like me.
Right.
So
here's let me put this up. This is Patty Jenkins talking. Let's see. Ad. Okay, so here this was last month.
Okay.
And she said, when I left Star Wars to do Wonder Woman 3, I started working on that. And we said, well, maybe I'll come back to do Star Wars after Wonder Woman 3. So we started a deal for that to happen. So when Wonder Woman 3 went away, that was the death of the whole current DC universe. Lucasfilm and I were like, oh, we've got to finish this deal. So we finished the deal right away. But then the strike began.
Yeah.
So that's where they were at there. So everything kind of between Wonder Woman 3 and the strike deadline, I kind of pushed everything back to now. So it looks like she's now working on it.
Yeah. So now they
But
just gotta get the script ready and then plan from there. So again, we're still probably, again, 2 years away from any of these real movies hitting.
yeah, I do
So
think though there's a little revisionist history in there. Um, I mean, it felt like she got dropped as soon as Wonder Woman 2 came out, and it was just trashed. Wonder Woman 2 was awful, and I think she took the blame when I think it was the studio's fault.
yes.
But it was like right after that came out and it bombed. Boom, Rogue Squadron was suddenly
Well,
backburnered.
yeah, I mean, she directed it. The story was by Patty Jenkins and Jeff Johns. I think it was all Jeff Johns. I don't know what he was thinking, but Jeff Johns also around that time got booted too.
Correct.
He was supposed to be the savior of all this stuff because I mean he wrote some great stuff in comics, but he comes into the movie aspect and I don't know what he was thinking.
I think it just keeps coming back to you can only do so much if the people on top insist that they're smarter. And I feel like Warner Brothers always, for some reason with DC, has to stick their finger in the pot and ruin it.
Yeah.
Just let the experts do what they're doing. And, you know,
Yeah.
I don't that, which is why we've said it numerous times on here. Wonder Woman 1 was so good because they didn't care about it.
Yes.
They were busy with Justice League. And the only part they actually, you can tell exactly when they stuck their finger in the pot. It's the last 20 minutes. And that's the worst part of the movie. It's a superb movie up to that point.
Yeah. No, she
So,
did. I like her as a director. I think she's fantastic.
mhm.
I mean, she's done a lot of different stuff over the years. I mean, she did besides Wonder Woman, uh, she did Monster. Um, you
Oh,
know,
I didn't realize she did Monster.
yeah, she directed that. She was the writer on that too, with Charlize Theron and Christina Ricci,
Mhm.
stuff like that. So she can do a lot of different things. Um, so she's been around and she's done some TV, she's done some other stuff. She did, and she did it, worked on like The Killing and Entourage, stuff like that. But definitely she's got the chops to do this.
She does.
And I liked what she initially said.
Oh.
There's Hawkins waking up.
Hawkins agrees.
Yep. He was snoring a minute ago. But she came into it like saying, hey, I'm tied into people that want to that was her father or grandfather was World War II pilot and
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So
Yep. So we'll see where that goes. I am looking forward to it. I hope. If Filoni is the creative on it, the guiding creative vision, though, like overseeing it, I know Filoni knows the X-Wing books, whether it's the Rogue Squadron books or the Wraith Squadron books, both of those phenomenally done. And if they can just translate, if not the exact stories, but translate the feeling over, it'll be so amazing. And we'll see where that goes.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a unique story, not related to the books themselves. Correct. But if we're dealing with, if they go to aspect of a lot of great, World War II pilot movies, over the years, like there's some that dealt with the Tuskegee Airmen, like Red Tails that Lucas did.
Yep.
That was done very well. You do
focus on the pilot's life, and even like, for instance, here's something they've never addressed.
Mm-hmm.
It's a military, right? You got the rebels, right? But if you pay attention, not every single, but the majority of rebel pilots have their own unique helmets. And it could be part of the lore where showing like the pilot earns his wings, so to speak, and painting his own helmet or something, or like whatever it is to make it his unique helmet. Or, is there shenanigans that go on with the rookie pilots, or, all those kind of things could be wrapped into it,
right.
To expand the lore into areas that have never really been looked at.
In some ways, I mean, you don't want to say about Top Gun, that fully done, because that was something a little different, but you definitely don't want to see that, because I mean, even Top Gun, and you see on real pilots, they do have their unique helmets and their call signs, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And now, of course, Star Wars, they get a designation based on their squadrons, Red 1, Red 5, whatever. Mm-hmm. Luke was Red 5 because Red 5 had died, so he just got that moniker when he
Right.
joined up. So I mean, that was how he got Red 5. Then you had the Yellow Squadron, Green Squadron, stuff like that. So Rogue Squadron was a spinoff from Red Squadron. So
Right.
and that was depending on where they put it, this was in the books and a lot of that stuff. That was what's his name? What's the other pilot that survived Battle of the Yavin?
Wedge.
Wedge, yeah. Wedge was a big part of the books and stuff
Mhm.
like that. So if they're going to
Yep.
follow Wedge and go during that time frame, it'd be great. If it's going to be post Jedi, then Wedge at that point, I think, had moved on, had been elevated in the status
Yeah.
of the Republic, but then they got a whole new group.
If they're going to address the creation of Rogue Squadron, the first mention of Rogue Squadron was in Empire Strikes Back when the snowspeeders are going out and they're searching for Han and Luke out, and the guy says this is Rogue 2. So so Rogue Squadron does exist in Empire Strikes Back. So the question is, like, will this be like looking at that formation of that squadron and put us into that era, or is it now farther along post Return of the Jedi, or even farther?
In a lot of ways, I'd like to see it almost post Return of the Jedi, where they start dealing with some different aspects. But at the same time, I mean, if you don't want to put it, you can't really drop it into the original trilogy because there's too much. They would be tied into the actual events. So
my preference is they get introduced maybe in the Thrawn movie, the Mandalorian Grogu movie. That's the introduction of them, and then the movie Patty Jenkins is doing carries that story forward. So now we're entering into an era that, in canon wise, we haven't really dived deep into.
Right.
And we'll give them a lot of freedom to expand how they want.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, this is something that if they do a movie, this could eventually become I could see a series down the road when, they kind of go on through that. So, it'd be interesting on that.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Want to talk some Fallout?
Yeah. So now you got two guys here that really have not played the games. I actually told Sky uploaded. I saw it on Xbox. I could get the Fallout New Vegas. So just as like a little intro to get an idea of what that was about, and definitely, we've both been reading up on a lot of stuff, and the series, I think, which is good about this is not taking place during any one of the games.
Yeah, it sounds like it starts off after. So Fallout 4 was the last game?
I believe so.
So this takes place after that.
Yeah. I was gonna look up Fallout games. I know they've done a bunch of like little side things like that. You get a ton of different stuff. I remember like Fallout 76 was a big deal. They did a bunch of stuff with that. There's Fallout 4 looks like really to be the latest one. So let me see if we got a listing here. But for the first Fallout actually came out in 1997. I was on Windows and Mac computers.
1977?
1997.
Or 97.
Yeah. And that was done by Interplay. And then Fallout 2 came out in 98. And then Fallout 3 was in 2008. And that was came out on Windows and then PlayStation, Xbox. Fallout 4 was 2015, and supposedly there's a Fallout 5 coming out. And then they had different spin-offs. Like 2001 saw on Windows a Fallout Tactics. Fallout Brotherhood of Steel came out on PlayStation, Xbox in 2004. The New Vegas one, it came out in 2010. And then they did like a Fallout Shelter, Fallout Pinball, Fallout 76 in 2018. But yeah, Fallout 4 in the major line of the games was the main series was 2015. So it's been a while since they've had a Fallout. But I know a lot of people still play them. They're definitely very, very popular. So, and on Steam, I guess they have the games on there, and people have been downloading like crazy this last week since the show came out. So.
Yeah, talk about a great extra revenue stream for the company. All these old games that they've been long paid for. Now people want to re-download them.
Yeah. So, it's looking right here, like Fallout 4, just kind of some basic premise, stuff like that. It was a virtual reality version game was released. It takes place during the year 2287, 10 years after the events of Fallout 3. It begins on the day the bombs drop, which was October 23rd, 2077. That's the timeline of that. And then the player's character, voiced by either Brian Delaney or Courtney Taylor, depending if you're going one or the other, dubbed as the sole survivor. It takes shelter in Vault 111. So I've seen a lot of that stuff at some of the cons and things like that with Vault 111. So I figured that had something to do with that
Yeah.
particular game. And it's like basically emerged like 210 years after the bomb. So there's different things going on there. So
Yeah. One thing I found interesting from this is that I don't know if spoiler is the right word, but I had a suspicion about a certain character
okay,
and where things would go. And I talked to you a little bit last night about it. I had a suspicion about a character maybe being a little swarmy or something. And I was thinking about it, like, what gave it away? And I realized it was just simply who they cast. The guy always plays kind of a stump. He always does. When he was in Agents of Shield. He always plays some kind of scumbag.
yeah,
And I realized, like, it was simply because they had they cast like Mr. Rogers in the role, I never would have thought he was gonna come, But it's whenever I see that guy, I think, okay, that guy's gonna be a backstabber or something.
okay. Well, I mean, it's now. I might as well just call out the actor. I mean, are you talking
Yeah,
about um the
the dad.
the dad? Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. He always play like a little shady, like scumbag type
I
character.
thought he's always come across that way, that type of
Yeah.
character. He's always got a little more. It's Kyle MacLachlan
Yeah.
and that. But the thing is that I think it's not just him. It's such a mix on this stuff, and so we'll get a little spoilers in here. So those
Yeah.
that haven't watched, you may not want to listen to everything here because we're not get too deep. But it's like I like how the show starts off. It starts off with, "Hey, here's our vault. Everything's peaceful. We've been living
Yeah.
here. Eventually, we're gonna." And they talk about eventually we're gonna go out and repopulate the earth and create society again. We're waiting. It's too much radiation out there and everything else. Um, but we come to find out that's not all true. So
Yeah.
it
I think it was brilliant the way so they don't take this isn't just a build on our current society and moves forward. This is kind of like a slight alternate universe where they mix in that retro 1950s technology into the world as it was. So it gives enough separation from our reality to really take some liberties in how they tell things, and it keeps it in universe because you don't get stuck in, well, that wouldn't happen or things like that. So
yeah.
I love the setting that this world that they created.
Yeah, it's definitely it's a 1950s setting because you're dealing with the commie invasion of Hollywood as well as the world. You've got also this big threat of nuclear annihilation going on. They're not
Yeah.
dealing with any actual political stuff from the 50s that was going on. It's like it's basically it's the communists and the not communists, in America, and they deal around Hollywood a lot. But it's funny. It's because technology has expanded quite a bit, but it's still back. It's like all the computers are like the old 1970s PET computers, are very
Mhm.
monochrome, things like that. Now, but then they have like these high tech little Pip Boys that they carry on their arms that has all kinds of information for them. I mean, it's got like it's got built. It's almost like a Swiss Army knife of
Right.
device. So
What is it about 1950s technology though that works for this futuristic feel? Like
I,
Loki, the time variance authority. Like they have this high-tech wrist thing with high-end electronics, but it's got the green and black little digital screen. Like,
I
what
think
about it?
I think it's the fact that had to get a new phone 2 weeks ago, and this thing is as powerful as a Chromebook.
Right.
I mean, it's got 512 megabytes or gigabytes of storage. I mean, most Chromebooks only have 256 anymore, but it's got like 12 gig of RAM. I think it's having too much of the technology that we have now. It becomes just like, I mean, I think it's why a lot of movies are having to go back to older times to take like this. Now, of course, this came out, started over 25 years ago, so they like that era a little bit. but the 50s era, you got to go back and watch some of the old movies, especially the sci-fi movies, and with the threat of annihilation after the bombs were dropped on Japan, and the fact that okay, now Russia has them now, and other countries were becoming nuclear and going from there. The fact that the Cold War was at its heights really in the 50s, heading into the 60s. So it was the threat of destruction. At the same time of rebuild, and if you look at like Fallout at the beginning, look at the life these people were living. It was, we're so great. It's a birthday party. This kid's getting, this Hollywood actor to come to his birthday party, and they're doing, pictures next to the horse and all that stuff. And it's just, you got this, well, some people now just want to call a simpler time, but it was more of an oblivious time. It's like, that won't affect us until it does right then.
Right.
So it's and so I think it's just building around that and building up singing. And of course, but when we're seeing it though, and it's not the 1950s, it's actually 2025 or whatever, and later, it's like the world never went past all that. They got stuck in this almost time loop of, they never got past the 50s. So it's like certain things in the world there didn't happen that were happening like in our world that helped propel things forward.
Right.
So, but I think it's just the fear aspect of it with dying into the communism in there. It's basically just the direct line of here's the bad guys. Bad guys are these guys are good guys. But then at the same time, they're showing that bad guys can really be on either side. And that's of course when the bombs started dropping, it didn't matter who was good or bad. Everybody's going then.
Right. So. I also find it's an interesting universe they've created that there's these such diverse genres that are all getting merged together. Like the Brotherhood is like this high tech, like medieval type thing, and the way Lucy and the Vault people live, and the way the ghouls are, like it's like a zombie mixed in with Excalibur, mixed in with like Pleasantville. Somehow they take these crazy genres, merge them all together in this world, and it works.
Well, I think the way it works is you've got the different. Everybody had their place in their place.
Yeah.
So in Vault 33, it was Pleasantville. It was this perfect world. Everybody got along great. At least that's the onset we see.
Correct.
As it's going on, right away, the initial attack from what we think is Vault 32 turns out to be raiders, not Vault people.
Right.
And of course she marries the guy, and then they go back to the place and her room and that stuff. And then all of a sudden he's going to try to kill her, and she's got to defend. I mean, the thing was, they did some basic setup ahead of time, showing that she could kind of protect herself a little bit. She wasn't helpless, but of course nobody there is helpless. They have to do many different things. Though some of the guys were a little more weenified compared to other ones. But I like the brother too. He's great in that. But yeah, I mean, they set some of that stuff right. So when she starts doing stuff, she's not perfect, which I think is great. They didn't make her like also a master of everything, but she like fighting off the initial, which was her husband at this point. She didn't just like whoop his behind. She actually had to fight hard, and she got lucky and was able to save herself. So.
Well, that's what I like about it is they give a more real, like you said, she can defend herself, but it's not like she's just, I'll just take on every 300-pound dude and win. She has to, it's a hard to survive for her. So it's more realistic in that sense.
Yes.
But I also like as the season unfolds, you learn like, this will be a spoiler to a degree. I'm not going to give the full spoiler, but every vault has there's different people involved, and each vault, they get to play out their idea of what the future society will look like. And that's why you get these crazy differences because each one's designed to be the future that person thought would make it.
Yeah.
So it's a good explanation. It makes it like, okay, I can see how that works. Yeah.
Now, of course, watching it, the guy that plays the brother, I was trying to figure out how I knew him. I didn't
Hannah
really.
Montana, wasn't he?
Yeah, I didn't that's the only reason I recognized him.
Rico?
Yeah, it's Rico from Hannah Montana, which is funny. But then I'm going back. I was looking at some of the other stuff he had done,
Hmm.
He's done a lot of stuff since then. Because I mean, that's been a long time.
Hmm.
Because that ended in 2011. But like he was in Ender's Game. I was like, that's right. I remember that when I saw that
Hmm.
one. He's done a lot of voiceover work, of course.
Yep.
He was in. I didn't watch the new remake of Ben-Hur, but he was in that. Uh, he was uncredited, but he was a bar guest in the Kong Skull Island. So I was like, oh, if I watch that again, I'll have to look for
Yep.
that. Um, and then
He's a good actor.
he is. He's really good. But he was like a bunch of TV series stuff. But he was Igor in The King of Staten Island.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you saw that one. That was the Pete Davidson movie, kind of semi autobiographical. Um, and that was actually a really good movie. If you haven't had a chance to see that one,
Nice.
and so I was like, okay, but I like him a lot in this Fallout series here. He's good, and he's actually the nice thing is we've getting so many. We've got three main storylines that are converging, but we have a fourth storyline after the fact too, because you've got the main character Lucy who leaves the vault to go find her dad after he disappears, and try to save him, and that's from the because he was captured by the invaders, who the vault end up basically fighting back on. And we do learn that if somebody dies, they don't burn them or just discard them. They actually go to a compost room.
Yep.
So, and then they're starting to really. What I found interesting is that we're starting to get this intrigue of okay, there's a lot more going on. At 32, we see is all decimated because the brothers over there are looking at it, and then within like a day, they fixed it. And they're now repopulate it with some of the people from 33, and you're finding out all these leaders, including his dad, because he's who's taken that stuff, were all people that were imported from 31.
Well, actually, though, 32 wasn't decimated by the Raiders because what they discovered is they were gone long before.
Well, I didn't say it was decimated. I said it was decimated.
Oh, okay. Yeah. and then there's a big secret in Vault 31,
Yeah.
which sounds like that secret might have been the reason why 32 was decimated.
Yeah.
The learning of the secret.
Well,
At
we
least.
learned their father is from 31,
Yep.
and then their mother died or disappeared.
Is the
And
woman who becomes the overseer in 33? What is she in Deadpool? Is she?
yeah, I believe she looks like the woman from Deadpool, the blind woman.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can
I'm
find
forgetting her
her.
name.
Yeah, let me see if I can find her stuff here.
I
So,
thought that was her.
and I could be wrong on that. So,
And Connie, the Comic Con mom's classmate, is also in this season.
oh yeah, yeah, he makes that one appearance. Eric
Eric
Estrada.
Estrada.
That actually was a fun little cameo.
He did good.
He
And it
popped up.
wasn't cheesy.
I was like, Eric Estrada.
Yep. And it was a serious cameo. He wasn't playing a cheesy role.
No, and I'm glad they did that. I think it was
Yeah. I would
definitely
like to see him come back and with his age, he could play some great roles.
Well, they've had a
And
lot of great. I mean, I've got a list here since I got the cast up here, but they've had a few nice pops in. Ben from Lost, Michael Emerson, he
Yeah.
makes a one episode appearance. Knight Titus, that was actually Michael Rappaport,
Yep.
which is great. Fred Armisen plays DJ Carl.
I noticed that. Yeah.
So that was funny. I seen him on that. You've got I'm trying to say McKelty Williamson on here too, and he's from Forrest Gump. That's Bubba. So I mean, there's different people popping up that just do one episode pop-ins, things like that. So, but yeah, I was trying to find what's her name on here. Of course, the list is always just all over the place. So,
Hold on. I hear
Yeah.
a car alarm going, just making sure it's not mine.
okay.
Not mine.
Not sure. Okay. Yeah. So from Fallout, it's Leslie Uggams. I always forget that's who that is. And that she goes way back. But she was Blind Al in Deadpool and Deadpool 2. She's known for Roots. She's a fantastic actress all the way around. She's done stuff for literally decades.
Mm-hmm.
And that, but she was in let me see here, something jump out, but she did a lot of stuff through like the 60s and 70s TV shows, different movies, things like that. Roots was her big breakout on that one there. And popped on a bunch of different shows and things like that over the years, but it's definitely a name I've seen many years, and definitely a good actress. So,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Deadpool, blind. That was Blind Owl.
Blind Al.
I thought that's what it was. I was like, that's all right. She's really good at this. Again, she's gonna have, I think, a bigger role in season
Yeah.
2. The beauty of this, I was wondering about this show when it came on, and not knowing the games, of course, wasn't sure if they were tied. Knowing now that they take place after the games, um, at least after through 4, I believe. Like we talked about, but the fact that it is its own story, the fact that they just now released this week all their ratings or whatever in terms of how the characters would have their stats, and that the intrigue we're going to see in the second one going forward is going to be interesting because they've got more to deal with the Brotherhood, but then there's also a big intrigue within the vaults that they've been dealing with on the back end. Lucy, we see kind of grow through these 8 episodes. And she definitely goes from being a little naive out in the real world to being able to handle herself a little bit better. So,
Yeah.
and I do like the character of Maximus. He was the squire from Knight Titus that ends up, and that's played by Aaron Moten.
I feel like he's what Finn should have been in the Star Wars sequel so far. I feel like that Finn was the prototype character. They're like, we want someone like him.
Well, and the thing with the Finn character is, towards the end of Force Awakens, he starts coming around.
Right.
Rian Johnson, not knowing where the character was supposed to be or going from there, just reverted him right back to the beginning of Force Awakens.
Right.
And he destroyed that character. That character should have been a lot more than what he was.
Right. And then by the third movie, it was just trying to fix the character. And
of course, then they give him the Force powers they don't fully go with. I always felt like, people are always saying, the Awakening, he senses he's got Force powers. I was like, no, he senses he woke up from the being. I always felt from New Order. I think giving him Force powers was a little too much, but that's fine, But at the same time, it's a character that even the actors come out and said, they really screwed me over on this,
mm-hmm.
And they did. I mean, too bad.
That character had so much potential.
Yeah. But
so hopefully Maximus fulfills that potential.
I hope so. The characters, the guy playing is a good actor. He's been great in this. I like the way he's playing it. I like how he, the character, basically says, "Oh, well, you're dead. I'm going to take your armor." I'm going to, he basically wants to be better than what he is, but he also realizes that things aren't always the way they seem. So.
You also see how the world is shaped. So he starts off, he's kind of a scared character, and he's always getting picked on. And then he ends up in this situation where he ends up out in the wastelands, and how it shapes him. And by the end, when they're going into battle, like all those other recruits that were with him, they're all scared because they're going to battle for the first time, and he's all rock solid and ready to go, and everyone else is throwing up, and like the nerves are just hitting him so much.
Yeah.
So I thought that I liked the evolution that they showed. He didn't just start off as like this big badass. He grew into it.
Yeah, and that's been the best part about it. Between him and Lucy are the two focus characters. Though we have the Ghoul played by Walter Goggins,
which is amazing.
Walter Goggins, he's a fantastic actor. If you've not seen Justified, the original series, you need to see that. That right there really showcased how good an actor he is. But he's done a bunch of stuff since then, over the years. And he came back. I haven't watched the new Justified that came out, City Primeval. It's supposed to be set in Detroit. It looked nothing like Detroit. But he was in. Remember that movie Fat Man that came out a few years ago with Mel Gibson as kind of a Santa Claus? Yeah, he was the skinny man in that.
Oh,
too.
That's right.
And then he was the sheriff in the Hateful Eight, and Ant-Man and the Wasp. He was Sonny Birch.
Oh, that's right.
So he's been around a bunch of that stuff. And then I'm trying to think of something else here that pops up that people know him from. He's a great character actor. Been around for quite a while, and he pops up in different times here and there. So
he totally has the feel. Like if I didn't know who played him, I would totally think it was Ed Harris as the Man in Black in Westworld. Like the vibes are so similar.
Yeah, and I think a lot of ways that was I think the Westworld series was the inspiration for the design on a lot of this.
Maybe.
And that, but yeah, the Walter Goggins character, I like his character. The character is a Hollywood actor, like so he was a cowboy actor, who was a full-on American anti-communist, but starts seeing some things that don't add up. We've seen that in some of the flashbacks.
Mhm.
But as the ghoul, it was interesting because I mean they go up to the grave and they're going to basically resurrect the ghoul and find out he's 200 years old, and they have two like drip bags going into the ground.
Yeah, somebody was keeping him alive
Just
to
enough.
torment him. They buried him alive, and they were like keeping him just enough alive to torture him.
Yeah.
And they dug him up, and well, that didn't go well for them. Yeah, the whole concept of the ghouls is interesting too. It looks like they haven't revealed it fully, but from what they've revealed, it sounds like it was some kind of medical experiment to extend lifespans, maybe
Yeah.
something like that. And it's created this genre of people who are kind of semi zombies, intelligent zombies.
Yeah, there's a drug he has to take, and he knew he had to get. That's whole part of one of the episodes. They has to get this drug because otherwise he's gonna fully
Yeah.
change. And then we do see some of the ghouls change,
Yep.
and they become at that point the fast moving zombies.
And then we have the one squire who had his foot crushed,
Yeah,
and he gets an elixir to fix it. I love how they are incorporating the completely unrealistic game world where your guy is low on health. You grab a med pack and boom, you're at full health.
yeah,
Well, they kind of show that here where he takes it and the foot heals
yeah.
and stuff. He's turning into a ghoul. So I'm guessing next season that'll be part of the storyline as we see the progression of this guy going from humanity into becoming a ghoul.
Yeah, I definitely see that. And now, did you call the phone number that they put on the screen? Did you remember seeing that?
No, I didn't even notice the phone
I
number.
didn't either. And it popped up. It was like a 215. No, it's an actual phone number, right? But I guess there's some kind of message about 333 days. I
Oh,
have a
hold on.
feeling that we're gonna get season 2.
Phone number. Fallout phone number.
Yeah.
TV on TV. Let's see.
Yeah.
Here's the phone number. Let's see. Here, I'll call it right now. I'll put it on speaker. Let's see what the Fallout phone number is.
Mm-hmm.
Phone keypad.
Yeah, it's 213-258-2858.
258.
Yep. 2858. 2858.
58.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna make sure this is on loud. And let's hit dial. Can you hear it?
Mm-hmm. I can hear it.
That was it. Someone yelling.
Yeah, it's just somebody screaming, which sounds like maybe it's the ghoul, in the grave.
Oh, and if you text it, somebody did a screenshot of the text. It says,
Okay.
Thank you for texting Vault Tech. The next available appointment is in 33 weeks from now. Please stand by. Reply Y to get reoccurring marketing and other text from Fallout and agree to community terms. Frequent varies, consent, not a condition of purchase, messaging data. So they're speculating 33 weeks is when season 2 will come out.
Correct. Which would put it around the beginning of the year.
There you go.
So we've not seen anything, but they before they dropped the episodes, they said it was already renewed for a second season. I think they knew what they had. And the thing is, I know I saw you had comment under somebody posting about had shared that should have been a weekly show, and that I'm glad too they dropped it the way it is, because there was a lot of story they needed to get out.
Yeah.
And week to week, it could have easily come. I don't know if I want to come back. I forgot about it from a week ago. Where if you can binge it and you catch 2-3 episodes at a time, you're like, okay, I know what's going on now. I want to come back and watch another couple episodes. And
so other people are speculating the 33 weeks is when Fallout 5 game will come out.
Okay.
So I'm seeing that speculation in here as well.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But yeah, it was a fun ride. A lot of shows I prefer weekly, to be honest, but this one I did like binging. like you said, I think with
Yeah.
the amount of story going week to week, I may have fallen away from this one over time. So being able to watch a couple episodes in a row helped keep me on track, I think.
Yeah, and it's definitely something like that. I mean, I know with the Fallout 5, because I looked it up, they supposedly Elder Scrolls 6 is in pre-production, and then they're supposed to be doing Fallout 5 after that. So I don't see Fallout 5 coming out in 33 weeks. It could.
Yeah.
I think 33 weeks was they were setting this up knowing I think they were renewed sooner than we're told. They announced it.
Yeah.
Mainly so they can get right back to work on it, and they're probably get ready to start filming or have started filming already. The next season, and we're going to see that drop sooner or later. It's just, I mean, it's something you don't want to go another 2 years between seasons.
Right.
This is a hot property right now that you want it sooner than later for at least a second season to keep that fervor going. Otherwise, that could drop off very
Yeah.
quickly.
Also, cost wise, it's far more effective to film 2 seasons back to back. All the props and sets and they're all existing. You can just keep on filming. So it's almost with a property like this, I don't think it's a huge gamble to move it to sign people up for 2 seasons in a row for the actors and everybody else.
Yeah, I have a feeling that they were all signed on for a multi-season deal initially.
Yeah.
Knowing that there was a chance it could go on. I mean, this is going to be a pretty good changing for the main actors. I mean, like I said, some have been around a little bit. You look at their credits; they've had some credits, but this is their biggest break, like the Lucy character or the Maximus character.
Yeah.
Walter Goggins thinks he's a character actor. He pops around, and I'm sure he doesn't mind being on a steady series for a little bit again.
Yeah.
And I like his character, and definitely the Ghoul character is pretty cool. Where like seeing him in that, and I can see that him as his own spinoff if they were to do something with that. Say, Fallout the Ghoul and do a mini series with that.
Yeah, he's definitely like Dirty Harry, Clint Eastwood beats zombie Red Skull.
Yeah,
like all merged together.
Yeah,
but
and I felt the same thing
fun.
about the Ed Harris thing from from Westworld. He definitely gives that same that kind of gunslinger vibe. He's definitely got the vibe going right. So
yeah, for sure.
Cool. Well, yeah, so definitely check out Fallout if you haven't seen it yet. Highly recommend it. I think it's the best thing that's come out in the last few weeks here. And then Bad Batch, a couple more episodes. Can't wait to this ending here. We'll probably wait till after. Well, we'll definitely talk about it after the series ends. Because I won't be here next week, but Scott may pop on next week, say hey, or
yep, I'll pop on for a little bit.
Yep, and then we'll get back in a couple weeks and get ready for the next whatever's.
Indeed.
All right, hey, everybody, have a great week. We'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.
Take care.